Toy Story is the very first, and for many, the best animated franchise by Pixar. But even with such great movies, did you know that there are several mistakes hidden throughout the adventures of Woody, Buzz, and Jessie?
Really?
In fact, these mistakes are even present in the toy's latest movie, Toy Story 5. When Jessie goes into Blaze's house with Smarty Pants, they go to the drawer to get batteries for the old toy, and they use 3 books to climb up there. And it's these exact same 3 books that they also use later on to put batteries into Atlas and Snappy as well. The detail here is that after this scene, we can see that there are no longer 3 books stacked on top of each other. They, or at least one of them, simply vanished. And it seems that this supernatural act of things disappearing and reappearing isn't exclusive to the 5th movie, because if we go back to Toy Story 4, right at the beginning, after Woody and Bo Peep's farewell scene, we can notice that Andy's family friend approaches the car to pick up the boxes that are on the ground and put them in the trunk. If you pause the scene exactly as he does this, you will see that there is absolutely nothing underneath the car. Let's look one more time just to be sure. Okay, all good, there really is nothing underneath the car. Except right in the very next scene, we can see that Woody is lying there on the ground like a completely devastated, lifeless doll, until he gets picked up by Andy and goes back inside the house. But how did he show up since he wasn't there before? That is a mystery that the Pixar animators should answer. But hold on, because it might be that this ability to transport from one place to another without anyone noticing or seeing isn't an exclusive trick to just Woody. Apparently, the sheriff has disciples in this ninja art, like Ham, the piggy bank. The proof of this happens in the Toy Story 4 scene, where Andy's former favorite toy is sidelined by Bonnie herself, left behind in the girl's closet. And through the crack, he manages to watch the girl having fun with other toys, among them Ham, who is right behind her. However, as soon as the girl leaves the bedroom, as if by magic, when the scene cuts back to Woody's point of view, notice that Ham is not only no longer in the spot he was in before, but now he has also changed his position and has his little feet raised. And following that, right after, Bonnie ends up returning to the bedroom, and all the toys go back to their previous positions. And Woody goes back inside the closet where he can see everything, such as Rex, for example, who is in the corner of his field of vision when he looks. The mistake happens right after, when Bonnie's parents come to get her to take the girl to school, and as the girl is walking out, Rex has simply disappeared. It's almost as if he had gone extinct from this scene. Poor guy. What if I told you that a scene that was correct in Toy Story 3 became wrong in Toy Story 4? Would you believe me? Well, that is exactly what happens, believe it or not. In the 3rd movie, we had that emotional moment where Andy donates his toys to Bonnie before going off to college. And the very last one he hands over is exactly Woody, his favorite toy. And notice that when Bonnie takes the sheriff in her hands, she has the regular sleeves of her striped t-shirt. However, in a quick recap that takes place during the opening song of Toy Story 4, we get to revisit that exact same scene one more time. Except this time, it's different. Notice that the long sleeves on Bonnie's t-shirt are pulled up to her elbows when she gets Woody. Granted, this isn't an absurd mistake, but it definitely makes it onto our list today. Since we are already on the subject of Woody's former owner, there is another mistake that happens in Toy Story 2 that is completely related to the character, or rather, to the character's name. If you've watched the 2nd movie in the franchise, you might remember that the villain Owl calls a cleaner to fix up all of Woody's details before he's shipped off to Japan. And at a certain point, the old man paints over the sole of the sheriff's boot so that Andy's name can no longer be seen. In this moment, we can clearly see that the letter A in Andy's name is facing the toe of the boot. Even though the name gets painted over at that time, we only manage to spot the mistake a bit later, when the cowboy himself scrapes the bottom of his boot and sees his owner's name there once again. And to the despair of everyone with a perfectionist streak, this time, the letter A is on the other side of the boot, showing that the name is now inverted. But how is that possible? The answer is, it isn't possible.
Because it's a mistake.
Before we continue, just a quick heads up. If you also enjoy movies, series, and cartoons, click the subscribe button right now, alright?
And by all indications, this mistake of putting the name on the boot in different ways is something that Pixar tends to do pretty frequently. That's because in Toy Story 3, when Lotso's soldiers lock Andy's toys up in cages upon discovering the truth, she looks at the sole of her boot, and we once again see her owner's name written there, with the letter Y at the toe of the boot. Except later on, Lotso forces them to stay there, getting completely demolished by the little kids at the daycare. And the next day, after the torture session, Jessie is there once again, completely exhausted, and we can see Andy's name on the bottom of her boot. But just like what happened with Woody in the second movie, this time Andy's name is written backward, with the letter A by the toe of the boot. Who knows, maybe it was the same animator who pulled the prank of switching Andy's name around on both Woody's boot and Jessie's boot, right? Still talking about the second movie, you might remember when Woody rips his arm in Andy's bedroom, and the boy ends up choosing not to take him to cowboy camp. And right after that, Andy's mom puts the sheriff on the shelf. And up there, he finds Wheezy, abandoned behind some books for months, because it turns out he never went in to get fixed. The weird thing about all of this is that if we go back to the first scene and look at the shelf where Wheezy is supposed to be, more specifically at the space between the books where he would be, there's nothing and nobody up there. So at the end of the day, where in the world did Wheezy come from? Moving on now to the very first Toy Story movie, way back in the distant year of 1995, where it all started. Let's look back at the moment we are introduced to Andy's cute little sister, Molly.
And we see the big bro picking the baby girl up from her crib at the time. And notice that he, being the careful kid that he is, lowers the side rail of the crib to take Molly out. The weird part is that right in the very next scene, as soon as the boy leaves and the toys come to life, Woody lets his friends know that the coast is clear. And at that exact moment, we can see the crib again. And the rail that was supposed to be lowered is completely normal, as if Andy had never taken Molly out of there. And now, let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes I have ever seen in the Toy Saga, which happens in my favorite movie of the franchise, Toy Story 3. When Woody is determined to get back to Andy while the other toys decide to stay at Sunnyside Daycare, he single-handedly tries to escape the place by sneaking down the hallways behind a "No Running" sign. At that moment, the daycare janitor shows up, and the sheriff has to pretend that he is simply a lifeless toy. And then we get a top-down shot where we can see Woody and the janitor with his cleaning cart, but we can't see the "No Running" sign because it has disappeared, turned to dust, vanished. It's pretty much that game of, now you see me, now you don't. Going back a little bit more in Toy Story 3, after Andy doesn't play with his toys, and after their plan to hide the cell phone doesn't work out, Woody and Buzz climb up onto the boy's dresser and start reminiscing about the good old days when the boy was just a little kid. However, right after that, Molly and Andy are about to walk into the bedroom, and all the toys need to get back to their toy box. And the Space Ranger and the Sheriff hurriedly climb down from the dresser and even use an open drawer to help them out. However, the weird thing about all of this is that even in all that rush, one of them still had the time to slowly close the drawer so it wouldn't make any noise, seeing as when the two siblings walk into Andy's bedroom, the drawer is completely closed. Of course, that was meant as a joke, and neither of them, not Woody nor Buzz, closed the drawer in all that hustle. That was simply just another small animation mistake in the best movie of Pixar's best franchise. Jumping back to Toy Story 4, when Bonnie and her parents are taking their RV road trip, the girl draws some pictures with her pink pen, crumples the sheet of paper into a ball, and throws it in the trash. And you can notice in this scene that the pin is practically right in the middle of the table when the girl pulls off that basketball player move. Except right after, in the following scene, the pin magically isn't in the middle of the table anymore, but rather super close to Bonnie, sitting right on the edge of the table. There are those who say that it rolled around due to the movement of the RV cruising down the highway.
but others believe that this is just a simple and basic animation mistake. And you, what do you think?
We've reached the end of this video, but if you like having your mind blown, this is the right place. That's why we left 2 really good videos for you to click, watch, and best of all, stay with us.